The brand new series of Star Trek Lower Decks is only a day away, so one of the big questions many Trekkies have been asking is how does this show fit into the current Star Trek timeline, with other shows like Star Trek Picard and of course Star Trek Voyager.
Not really elite, we're more like the cool, scrappy underdogs.
Hey everyone, my name is Captain Jack and welcome to Trek Central. Today we're talking about timelines, yes, a heavily discussed aspect of the Star Trek community. So our question for today, and what we'll be discussing, is where does Star Trek Lower Decks fit into the overall Star Trek timeline? We'll be breaking down everything we know so far, including details revealed by the show's creators, and fitting it into the timeline with other movies and shows like Star Trek Nemesis, and of course Star Trek Picard. Nemesis being rather close to the much anticipated new series. Oh, and for those of you who are needing information on where to watch Star Trek Lower Decks on August 6, including information about the international release of the series and why we haven't heard anything official as of yet, stick around towards the end of this video for more. Before we do dive into the details of this video, if you're new around here, then be sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video. We'll be preparing to review Lower Decks and bring you all the information about it over the next few months, so get ready to beam up. Alright, let's hit it. Now, Star Trek Lower Decks is just less than a day away, so it's important to note where the series takes place in the Star Trek timeline. First up, to answer any major questions, yes, the series does take place in the prime timeline of the Star Trek universe. Lower Decks is placed in the Next Generation era of Trek. Star Trek The Next Generation ended in the in-universe year of 2370 on stardate 47988.0, 10 years before the events of Lower Decks take place in 2380. The movie Star Trek Generations, in which Captain Jean-Luc Picard rescues Captain James T. Kirk from the mysterious realm known as the Nexus, happens in the next year of 2371 on stardate 48632.4. This same year sees the destruction of the USS Enterprise D, as well as the eventual death of Captain James T. Kirk. Moving forward, to better get you to grips with the timeline at hand, Star Trek First Contact takes place in the year of 2373 on stardate 50893.5, where the crew of the Sovereign-class USS Enterprise E prevent the Borg from disrupting first contact between humans and Vulcans in the year of 2063 on April 5th, what would become known as First Contact Day. The mission was a great success and the timeline went unaltered. 2 years later, in the year of 2375, the movie Star Trek Insurrection takes place, where the crew of the USS Enterprise E uncover a plot between the Sonar and Starfleet Command's Admiral Matthew Dougherty to relocate a native species, the Baku, from a planet, therefore allowing the Sonar to take control and access the metaphasic particles within the rings of the Baku planet. Up next, the long-running and much-loved series of Star Trek Deep Space Nine will be ending its run in the year of 2375, which also marks the end of a devastating Dominion War which caused the death of billions and the destruction of numerous facilities and ships for nearly all of the Alpha Quadrant. The devastating losses will take years to recover for factions like the United Federation of Planets and most of the Alpha Quadrant. Star Trek Voyager will be next with the return of the USS Voyager and her crew to the Alpha Quadrant in the year of 2378. This would mark 7 years after the vessel had been stranded in the Delta Quadrant due to an alien being known as the Caretaker. Voyager's journey would take them through the Delta Quadrant, all while attempting to return home. In the following year of 2379, on stardate 56844.9, the Romulan Star Empire suffered a coup from a man named Shinzon. The entire Romulan Senate was killed by a failure on radiation device. Shinzon, now as the new praetor of the Romulan Star Empire, opens diplomatic channels to the Federation, and specifically requests the Enterprise and Captain Jean-Luc Picard. The now Vice Admiral Catherine Janeway, after a return from the Delta Quadrant, gives the Enterprise and crew the mission to meet with Shinzon, who unbeknownst to them, is actually a failed Tal Shiar plot to replace Jean-Luc Picard with a clone in order to infiltrate Starfleet Command. While events spiral out of control, Shinzon declares war on the Federation with the aim to destroy Earth, using a massive Phaleon radiation weapon that is fitted within his flagship, the Scimitar. Luckily for everyone involved, the plan was stopped by the crew of the Enterprise in what would become known as the Battle of the Basin Rift, when Jean-Luc Picard kills Shinzon and Lieutenant Commander Data sacrifices his life to destroy the Phaleon generator, saving his friends aboard the Enterprise and the people of Earth. At the end of Star Trek Nemesis, Captain Jean-Luc Picard is still the captain of the USS Enterprise E, with his former first officer, newly promoted Captain William T. Riker, leaving to take command of the USS Titan. heading up a brand new Federation task force to form diplomatic ties with the Romulan Star Empire now that their coup has been dealt with. This brings us up to the year of 2380, where Star Trek Lower Decks takes place. With regards to the official Star Trek canon, not much else really takes place in this year so far. The only significant event so far is regarding Captain Jean-Luc Picard being awarded the Dignified Persons Award from the government of the planet Vulcan. Something we know from the Star Trek First Duty exhibition at Comic-Con last year, with the award also being seen in the Quantum Archive in Star Trek Picard Episode 1. Now, Starfleet as an organisation is continuing its mission of exploration of strange new worlds during this period. The Federation, along with Starfleet and other Alpha Quadrant organisations, have mostly recovered from the aftermath of the Dominion War at this point, so Lower Decks' point of view will provide an important look at how this has taken place. It's worth noting that the main ship of the much anticipated new series, the Californian-class USS Cerritos, is described as falling apart and not the best ship in the fleet. The Cerritos' registration number is NCC-75567, which means that it was constructed before the USS Sao Paulo, which has a registration number NCC-75633, which was constructed at the end of 2375 and later renamed to the USS Defiant. This would mean that the Cerritos was built at the very end of the Dominion War. Moving forward one year, 2381 begins the path to the story of Star Trek Picard, when the Romulan Empire's star shows unnatural signs of going supernova in the near future. Under the command of newly promoted Admiral Jean-Luc Picard, Starfleet changes its mission from exploration to rescue and relocation, as it desperately tries to relocate Romulan citizens so they'll be saved from the looming disaster of the Romulan supernova crisis. How this might tie in and affect the crew of the USS Cerritos we do not know, but the first season of Star Trek Lower Decks will be in the year 2380. If Lower Decks keeps with previous Star Trek series, with every new season being in a new year, we should see changes to Starfleet from the perspective of our Lower Decks crew in Season 2 of the show, perhaps even with some cameos from certain Next Generation legendary characters, which show creator Mike McMahan has teased himself. It's entirely possible, and we'll have to watch to find out. As the Cerritos is a ship specialising in second contact missions, I do not see their mission changing much after 2381, though it is possible they could find themselves also involved in relocating people during the supernova crisis. Also in the same year, the uniform changes from the Lower Deck style to the ones we see in the flashbacks in Star Trek Picard. Whether this will affect the crew in Lower Decks, we shall have to see, as it's very common for some ships to get new uniforms later as they're phased in. Star Trek Discovery shows this, with the USS Discovery crew still using the older style uniforms, while the crew of Captain Pike's Enterprise use the brand new and colourful uniform styles.
Besides, we've got the new uniforms, and lovely uniforms they are, Captain.
Very colorful.
If we move forward into the year of 2385, 4 years into the Romulan relocation mission, led by Admiral Jean-Luc Picard aboard the Odyssey-class USS Verity, the unthinkable happens at the Utopia Planitia shipyards on Mars, as they are attacked by rogue synthetics. A mission perpetrated by the Zat Vash, who had infiltrated Starfleet in a bid to stop synthetic life from evolving. The devastating loss of Utopia Planitia fleet yards, which decimated the planet of Mars and claimed the lives of 92,000 people, also saw the Romulan rescue armada, which Starfleet had been building, totally annihilated. Following the attack, the Federation Council and Starfleet Command decided they could not justify another effort to rescue the Romulan people from the impending supernova, and therefore called off their rescue plans. In protest of abandoning the citizens to their eventual doom, Admiral Jean-Luc Picard resigned from Starfleet in protest and walked away. Moving forward to the year of 2387, the Romulan star would go supernova, destroying the planets of Romulus and Remus, as well as displacing billions of lives. The events would haunt and follow the now retired Jean-Luc Picard well into his eventual mission into the year of 2399, where the events of Star Trek Picard series take place 19 years after Star Trek Lower Decks. So there we go, that's about where the Star Trek Lower Decks series will take place in the Star Trek timeline so far. Once the series airs, we'll get more concrete dates and be able to update this video accordingly, but it'll do for now. For additional information, Star Trek Discovery Season 3 will take place in the 32nd century, so it's quite some time away from a series of Lower Decks. Maybe don't expect any crossovers in that regard. Now, Lower Decks will air tomorrow, August 6th on CBS All Access in the United States and on Crave/CTV Sci-Fi in Canada. International viewers, such as those of you in the United Kingdom and the rest of Europe, it's still bad news as of recording this video, I'm afraid. No international distribution has been announced yet, but series creator and showrunner Mike McMahan has provided information on why this is the case. In a recent interview, McMahan said that COVID-19, which has taken the world by storm, is the main cause for why we're not heard any news on the international streaming partner for Star Trek Lower Decks. His exact quote in a recent interview says the following: "CBS wants all of you guys to see it. I want to be careful here because normally I just go radio silent because I don't want to speak out of turn because this business stuff, the deal making, is not something I'm involved in. But from what I know, here's a piece of this I want you guys to hold on to, is there are, in the works, a way for you guys to watch it. I don't know the timeline, but the reason you guys don't know yet is squarely because of COVID, because the timelines of everything we've been doing for production has been completely thrown out." Now he does go on to explain that Lower Decks has been moved forward by 2 months to keep the schedule of Star Trek content in sync. While this is fantastic as more Trek content sooner, it might have had an effect on the international community side of things for when it comes to viewing the show. Unfortunately, it looks like international fans of those of you in the UK and Europe and many other places can't watch Lower Decks tomorrow on August 6th unless CBS really do have a surprise announcement, so how that'll be handled I'm not too sure. Please do let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comment section. It is kind of disappointing and I will level with you here. We'll be discussing this in greater detail on our Sunday live streams, which I'm about to tell you about. That's it for this video. Every Thursday we'll be back with brand new episode reviews, and then on Sundays at 9 PM BST, we'll be live streaming to discuss our excitement and open thoughts on the latest episode and series so far, also featuring special guests. If you want to keep up to date with all things Star Trek, be sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video. You can also visit our website for brand new articles, as well as join our community Discord server to chat with like-minded Trekkies about the series and movies that you love. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Live long and prosper, my friends.